In Matthew chapter 5, Jesus spends some time teaching his people how to be happy. He uses the word makarios, which means self-contained happiness or blissful in happiness. And he wants us to experience this because this kind of happiness does not depend on anything from the outside world. It's a happiness that is self-contained. And one of the statements he makes in Matthew 5 is, blessed are, or happy are, or those who have self-contained happiness are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Now, the word meek is probably one that we don't use a lot in our normal conversations. It's probably not a word that you have on your resume because we confuse meekness with weakness. When you and I hear the word meek, we think weak, we think soft, we think not strong. And so it's probably not something we would use to identify ourselves with. But Jesus says that the happiest people on the earth are those who are meek because they will inherit the earth. So what is meekness? Well, in the context Jesus was using it, to be meek means to embrace and to understand your role in God's story. It's this idea that God is the center of the story, not me. And the longer you live, the easier it is to just assume that life is a story about me. That everywhere I go, there I am. I wake up in the morning and I'm the first person I see, and when I go to bed at night, I'm the last person I listen to. And so life must just be a story about me. But it's not. That is a prideful way to look at life. Jesus is saying, it's the meek who understand. It is meekness that helps us to understand and embrace that all of this whole story is God's story. He's the centerpiece. He's the one in the spotlight. He's the one that gets all the attention. And when you're meek, you can embrace your role in that story. You can embrace the idea that God has a part for you to play, but it's not the starring role. You're just a bit player in the story about God. You're a part of His story in history. It means to be content with who you are in the light of God being who He is. It means that you are happy to play your role, whatever that might be, using your gifts and your talents to point people to the star of the show, and that's God. So today, man, the world needs more meek people. The world doesn't need any more influencers. The world doesn't need any more famous people. We have plenty of those. What the world needs is Jesus followers who are content to play their role where they are, using their gifts to bring glory and honor to God, to put the spotlight on Him and to embrace their role as just part of the story of God's creation. We are invited by God the Father to be a part of His story. What a great honor. And the meek understand that just being invited to the party is enough. So today, want to inherit the earth for all it's worth? Well, meekness is the key to happiness, to embrace your role in God's story.